construction industry's innovation and technology show.
All right, we have a little technical issues here, but luckily we're here. So, hello and welcome to this episode of the AEC Business podcast. My name is Aarni Heiskanen, and my guest is Shreesha Ramdas, the CEO and co-founder of Lumber. We will discuss construction for workforce management and how digital tools like Lumber help in succeeding in it. Shreesha, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you, Arnie. It's a pleasure.
Before you co-founded Lumber, you had already worked in tech, and since 2014, you've been an investor and advisor for many startups. Why did you become specifically interested in construction technology?
Yeah, Arnie, I've been doing tech startups for a while, done about 3 startups and sold it. And I was at that stage of my life, Arnie, where after doing all these startups, kids out of the house, I was thinking about which industry to go and have a meaningful contribution, have an impact that will be remembered for a long time. And that journey led me to look at industries that have been lagging behind. And that's when I met 2 people who influenced this decision. One was my co-founder, who had led Oracle Construction Engineering. He and his team had built construction products from ground up, built cloud version of it. And another one, a senior executive at a large construction firm in California, who mentioned to me that everybody does tech startup. Construction industry is where a lot of innovation is needed, and you cannot do without construction. Construction is necessary for economy to do well, and that led me to talk to several construction firms, and I realized that this industry does need a lot of innovation. It needs outside in perspective. So looked at the stats around workforce, realized that the industry is in crisis. um, 41% of the workforce will be retired or gone in next 7 years, and the velocity of younger workers coming in is not that high. So that's where I felt if I jump in and even move the needle a little bit, it'll be a meaningful contribution. So that's what led me to step into the construction industry. And it's been about a year, and I cannot express how delighted I am to be in this industry. I felt, truly speaking, I feel alive every day in this industry.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you. But was there anything special that surprised you, positively or negatively? When you...
So, being in the tech industry, I think we take technology and customer adopting technology granted in some ways. Coming into construction industry, I was puzzled about why this industry is lagging in terms of adopting newer technologies, why some of the processes are still in the paper, why there are companies that came about 35, 30 years are still in existence. Because in the tech world, every 10 years at least, an existing technology goes out and a new innovation comes about replacing it. Why that has not happened in construction industry? And that's when I realized that the construction owners are busy creating structures. They take a lot of pride in what they have built. And for them, moving to technology is not a priority. It's not a priority because it needs to enable them. Then it becomes a priority. But they are not looking for newer technologies. So that's discovery was something new in the construction industry, that I learned that you have to you have to have the technology as a true enabler. It needs to give them that 10x productivity jump for them to embrace the technology.
Yeah, I can agree with that. As I said previously, you have experience in startups, and now you're having a construction tech startup. What would you say makes a successful construction tech startup? What is there a recipe for that, or how would you describe that?
Yeah, so in general, Arnie, the way I look at successful startup is one that is not just innovation technology. It's one that makes a difference in the customer's life. It's one that customers have adopted and embraced it completely. It becomes part of their daily life. And I would extend the same definition to construction startup as well. A successful construction startup is one that has made a quantitative and phenomenal difference in construction owners and all the different participating in the construction industry, their lives. And that what that means is essentially is that you have to nail the onboarding and adoption piece. Going back to what I discussed to your last question, how do you ensure that it becomes a habit of all the people in the construction industry? How do you ensure that they have formed their processes around that? It's part of their critical workflow in every day that they are in the field building structures. How can the technology be part of their daily workflow? The construction software startups that solve that issue, that become part of a critical workflow, will go on to becoming a big success.
Yeah, so they are solving a real problem, not just having a fantastic idea and see if it works, if anybody wants it. Speaking of startups, Lumber, let's talk about Lumber. Lumber is an end-to-end software as a service workforce management platform, especially for SMB construction contractors. But what are the challenges or problems that you're solving with Lumber?
Yeah. So at Lumber, we are solving two big challenges that exist in the industry. One is I feel that the back office in the construction industry has been forever neglected. The joke is that most of the back office um, team do not even have a window in their room. So they've been relegated to a corner. So what we are trying to do is to empower the back office to be truly a growth engine for construction firms. If we take today the amount of spreadsheet use in the back office, I think is the highest across the industries. Um, for example, if we take payroll, the filing of taxes, the ACH transfer, the check is basic hygiene, and that's what most of the horizontal payroll providers do, and that's what most of the construction firms use. All the pay calculations, which is basically looking at the prevailing wage reports, looking at union agreements, looking at different pay rates, looking at shift timings, looking at um, break time rules. If you're working in a specific project with a specific company, they may have their own policy. So navigating all through all of that is today a manual and a tedious task that's done in spreadsheet. A lot of the firms have onboarding in spreadsheets. So you have your workers who are full time. You may have temporary workers. You may have to ramp up. You may have to ramp down. For example, landscaping, it's very seasonal. So you have to ramp up, you have to ramp down. And so you have to make sure that you are providing the right access to the on workers who are being onboarded, and you have to take away the access of the workers who are being taken away. And so all of that today happens in spreadsheets, and it's shocking. And so we want to empower the back office, providing them the technology so that they can make a difference in the workers' life. The second challenge, big challenge that we are solving, Arne, is today workers on the field, they are being mandated to use technology. It's not a choice. It's being mandated. They are saying you have to enter this data, this information, and workers are asking constantly WIFM, which is spelled WIFM, which is what's in it for me, right? Because what's in it for me? We will enter the data, but how will it improve our lives? And that's where we are truly innovating. We are thinking about the workers and how they go about their daily routine, how can we increase, how can we elevate their life, how can we increase their experience, how we can enhance their experience. And that's a big challenge we are solving through gamification, through latest innovation. We're going to change their life, we are going to transform their life.
Yes, I think you're really targeting the right right people with back office and the let's say the field workers as well. So that's really good. But what can customers actually do with Lumber? What are the main functions?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a workforce management platform, and currently we have two products in the market. One is time tracking, one is payroll. And so with payroll, we are the first real-time payroll in the industry, which means that we have a native pay calculation engine, which in real time figures out how much worker needs to be paid. Which also means that with our platform, you're forever compliant. So what we have seen is that the back office either are constantly worrying about the compliance piece, or they are worrying about, or compliance is an afterthought. And compliance in the construction industry, Arni, is at the federal level, is at the state level, at some muni level, it could be at the project level, it could be union level. So there are different compliance rules and regulations that the back office workers have to be mindful about. And so with our platform, they can be rest assured that um, they are forever compliant. And that's because what we have done is we have aggregated, accumulated all the rules and regulations in a database, and have fine-tuned LLMs to operate on that. And so the platform is proactive in ensuring that even if the back office forgets or is neglecting, it brings the compliance piece to the forefront, and sometimes actually take an action on their behalf, like including submitting certified payroll reports to the government websites and all of that. So that is one innovation that we have brought into the platform, and back office can use our platform to run the payroll, to onboard workers. And the second uh, thing is time tracking. So how do you get workers to enter time accurately in the first place? How can you get workers to report incidents, accidents that have happened? How do you get workers to report about the job completion that has happened? And so that's where, with transformative experiences, we are making a difference to workers entering data accurately, so that the rest of the software pieces in the ecosystem of back office and workers successfully runs.
Um, how? What is the let's say? Where are the customers currently for Lumber? Are they in the USA, or are you already operating internationally?
Yeah, I would love to go international, Army, but not yet. As a small startup, and having previously done startup, I know the how important it is to focus. And so currently we are operational in US, and our customers are largely specialty contractors, self-performing general contractors. And so when I say specialty contractors, it could be drywall guys, it could be landscaping, roofing, glass guys, solar, EV installers. So all those specialty guys who have workers on their payroll, and want to transform their lives, um, are our customers. And self-performing general contractors. A lot of the larger general contractors, um, apart from using specialty contractors and subcontractors, perform some of the jobs themselves. So those are also the guys who are our customers.
Mm, okay. Yes, I think that even the USA is a big, big market to serve. Uh, but what do your customers gain by using your platform? What kind of benefits would they see?
Yeah. So, Arni, we are a platform for construction companies that want to take their workers' experience and excellence beyond. And this is important because, as I mentioned, that industry is in crisis because 41% of the workforce is going to be gone by 2031, and which is not that far, right? And so then you don't have workers, but the construction will only go up. In US, for example, we have the Infrastructure Act, we have the Inflation Reduction Act, we have the Clean Energy Act. So uh, infrastructure construction, public works will be all-time high. And similarly, we know that the rest of the world also is facing aging problem. And so that's why I say that the industry is in crisis, and workers will be premium commodity, will be premium. So they will be, we have seen big companies who used to rely on labor brokers now are hiring skilled craftsmen directly. They're offering first time PTO benefits. So they are in this quest to elevate the experience of the workers so they feel more belonging to the construction firm. And the second thing is, if you have lesser worker, then you will forever be focused on how do I get their productivity to go up so that the less can do more. So that's why I said it's about workforce experience and excellence. And given that a lot of the workers will be gone, you're also thinking about how do I capture the tribal knowledge? And once I have that knowledge, how do I distribute it to the younger workers so that their ramp up is fast? So those are the critical issues that the companies are facing, and that's the challenge that we are going to solve. So with our just the time tracking and payroll product, we have seen companies have 9x ROI, and the payback is in days, not even in months. So we are already seeing that we are having a big impact. And down the road, as we build more modules in the workforce management platform, we hope to really elevate the productivity of these construction firms.
When you implement a new digital tool or platform or process, it's typically difficult, and it's done in one project, but the problem is how to scale it across the company. Can you advise us on how contractors can best implement these new tools like Lumber so that they get the results that they are promising?
Yeah. Arnie, this is perhaps the most important question um, to all the software startups that are focusing on construction industry. It's basically how do you get construction firms to adopt your technology? It's not just innovation that will move the needle. So, my previous experience was customer success, and I with Strike Deck that I sold to Medallia, and customer success for me was a proactive word. The previous word was customer support. So it was reacting to customer coming in with some query and you resolving it. Customer success is you proactively working towards customer success. You proactively reaching out to customers and helping them to develop habits around your product that will make them superstar in their organization. And so your question about how do construction firms adopt newer technology, that is where I'll go back to how, to the point that I was making, is that a construction owner, worker, back office, they're all super busy. They all have more work than they can handle because of the pressures they have. And we will agree that perhaps the pressure in the construction industry is all time high, right? The, I would say that construction industry would be accident free and absolute safe place if the pressure was not there. But the pressure is there, and in pressure, um, as we know, a lot of errors happen, right? And uh, so I would say the software industry, software firms that want the construction firms to adopt their technology need to go beyond proactive, need to provide them not only the technology but the service, need to give them comfort that we will handle the transition. You don't have to worry about the transition. If you put the burden of transition to the construction owners, it's going to take forever, and most probably the software will remain a shelfware. So it's very important to um, give a helping hand and go and have that service level mindset. If you need to move data, then you need to do it, not rely upon them to move data from one system to another system. If they are managing the current process in spreadsheet, you need to ingest those spreadsheet and not ask them to upload the spreadsheet and figure out how to make it work. You have to ingest the spreadsheet, work with whatever format they have. So essentially, my big advice, and for Lumber, we practice this: go with a service mindset. Don't just say, here's my software, take it and run with it. They're not going to do that. You have to implement, you have to take that extra step. And so the advice is crawl, walk, and run. So initially in the crawl phase, handhold the construction firms, show them the promised land, show them how it will elevate their work experience, then teach them how to walk, and then finally run with them.
Okay, but maybe that's something that some startups actually fear, that they have to do some sort of service, that not just put their tool online and have a credit card payment automatically. Um, Maybe that's, some see that as a challenge for scaling.
Yeah, you're absolutely true, Arnie. I'm a big proponent of product-led growth, where you can put a card and the customer buys, and then customer self onboards, and then customer is magically using the software. That is going to be exceptional cases only, Arnie. There are
Mm.
tools like Notion that have successfully done it, which is basically you want to note down stuff, and Notion is there, and so you go and proactively use it. But that's not for the construction industry. Um, Construction industry, they, as I said, their main focus is building structures. That's what they take pride in. So PLG is not for construction. The question is, um, how do you do the services in a cost effective manner? And that's the challenge that the startup entrepreneurs in construction industry need to solve. You need to deliver service at a low cost base so that you can keep scaling. The challenge that I will say exists, is, or the challenge that I will give to the software entrepreneurs, Arnie, in the space, is that you're spending a lot of dollars on customer acquisition, and then if and then there's a leaky bucket phenomena where a customer who is on your platform leaves you, and then you are then putting additional dollars in chasing a new customer. How about taking that dollar and ensuring that customer is happy with your platform? How about deploying that dollar to customer adopting your platform? And that's where I'm saying it's possible to scale services in a manner that you're bringing the service, the comfort to the customer, but operating at a low cost base.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yes. But you already mentioned that companies already have several applications, apps on mobile devices, and of course the all the software they have, and legacy software, and those spreadsheets. uh, if you bring a new solution to this environment, you probably need some sort of integration, or do you, with these
Yeah,
other systems?
yeah, absolutely, Arnie. So to construction firms and construction owners, you cannot preach rip and replace. You cannot say whatever you have, rip it out and implement my new shiny tool that'll magically make all the problems disappear. That won't work in the construction industry. You have to approach it with solving a critical pain. You have to figure out how do you become an essential part of the workflow, and then potentially go about doing the change management that will ease them into new way of doing things. And for that, you have to have an strong integration approach. So Arni, our background at Lumber comes from a company called Yodlee, which was one of the financial pioneer in the industry. It was a company that was in the dot-com era, and there we brought in the data from different financial platforms, normalized it, aggregated it, and made it useful to build applications on top. So data and integration is an essential DNA at Lumber, and so we have, I would say, pioneered a new concept here called integration bot. So this is where whatever systems platform you're using will be able to integrate it. If the platform system have a REST API or even SOAP API, we will work with that. But beyond that, even if you have desktop software, we'll figure out how to extract data from there. And that's the bot operates at the browser level and extracts the data or pushes the data into the system as a user level. Back in Udly, we invented a technology called screen scraping technology. And so we know how to get data together. How do we derive the meaningful relationships from there, normalize it, and then make it useful?
Okay. You already discussed what you're doing today and what you're providing today at Lumber, but what are your plans for the future?
Yeah, so Arni, um, the ultimate challenge that we are going after is how do we ensure that knowledge from workers is captured and how it is transformed into useful information for younger workers and ramp them to high productivity levels. And I feel we have just started on that journey. So we are as I mentioned, the two important things for us is workforce experience and workforce excellence. We have started our journey with workforce experience, where we are creating this environment where the workers feel committed to the organization that they are serving. And that's by transforming how they are getting paid, how they are getting onboarded into um, the field. But where we want to now start moving towards excellence, which is, I looked at the industry stats on accidents and deaths that are happening on the field, and it's shocking. Something, only when you look at the stats you will understand and how prevalent it is. Just looking at the California stats is just shocking. And so if we can um, ensure that every worker is trained, uh, the safety processes are followed, it'll make a big difference. And that's one goal that we want to work either directly or indirectly, aggregating different collaborating with other companies who are in that quest to make that happen.
Okay. This has been a really inspiring discussion, I would say. But if our audience wants to learn more about your software and platform and maybe start trying it out, where can they find more information about Lumber?
Yeah, Arni. So I would suggest that our website is the first stop. It's www.lumberfi.com, lumberfi.com. It has got a lot of information about our products. It's got videos, but beyond that, we also have compiled a lot of useful resources for construction firms and owners. For example, if you are a new business owner, how do you go about starting your business? We have checklists, templates that the business owners can use. If you are thinking about how to implement rewards and recognition in your firm, then we have templates for that. So a lot of useful information apart from basic Lumber product information on the website. And then you can always reach out to sales@lumberfi.com. They'll be happy to assist in demonstrating the product and telling you more about what we do.
Very good. And of course, if you have any, if our listeners or audience right now have any any questions or comments, please use the comment section of the stream, and we will, of course, get back to those questions after this stream. But I would say looks really good to me, and Sreja, thanks a lot for this opportunity to interview you, and all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you, Aarni. It was great having this conversation with you.
All right, very, very good.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe to this podcast and visit aec-business.com, the award-winning blog, for more news and stories.